Hey guys, what's up? Rob Mods here. Gonna be bringing you some gameplay today, but it's really interesting. Check this out. Over the last, months that I've been playing this game and almost to the last year, I feel like I've learned something new almost all the time where I'm tweaking my gameplay, I'm doing something different, I've learned something new, or something just comes to me, I test it out and it works or it doesn't work. And I'm always trying to improve things. And I actually just discovered something in my own play that wasn't great just a few days ago, and I've been playing around with it, and I actually want to share with you what that is and what I'm planning on doing differently, and hopefully it can maybe help you with your gameplay right now. This happens to me all the time where I'm just playing normally, this is how I do things, this is what I think is most efficient, and then I'll see someone else do something, or I'll have a thought, or I'll want to test something. This one actually came from me recording the guide on enchantments, and I was kind of messing around with different prices and different things, especially with rounding, and all of a sudden I realized, oh, okay, I'm doing that wrong. So I want to talk about that, and also the other side of it is, or the other half of this video, is that I've mentioned before at different times that often you see in my videos where I'm just like ripping through sales and it seems fast and seems fun and whatever, and I can make 800 mil an hour or whatever the video is. But then there's another side of it that just takes a ton of clicks and takes forever. So I'm going to show you a little bit of that. You may not want to watch it, but it's interesting to me anyway. So right now we've got Haggle event on, so everything takes 25% less energy. So even though I only have 5,800 energy out right now, because I have all these bins, I can still one-shot anything. So I've actually just finished selling through the entirety of my inventory. I have nothing, like no tier 9s to sell right now. That's why I have so much money stocked up. I haven't spent any of it. But here, I want to show you guys something. We're going to use one of these on each of these items. So these are all the exact same thing, and we're going to use it on 7 different items. And I want to show you what I've realized since a couple of days ago and what I've been messing around with. So this is all going to be exactly the same enchants, and I'm going to put it on 7 different items. These 7 items are the 7 lines that I've ascended to 15. So the small talk takes 10% less energy. I'll show you it in a second. So these are the main tier 9s that I use because the energy needed is lower than any of the others, which means that I can sell faster. So my net worth can go up quicker. That's the only reason I use these 7. Okay, so there's the 7. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. So up here in Ascensions, I've got 7 items that have 15 stars. So all 7 of these take 10% less energy. Like look here, 10% less energy to surcharge. So that's why I use those ones. So let's check it out. So go to inventory. Okay, there's my items. 1.1 million for the chest, 1.1 million for the boots, 1.1 million, 1.1, 1.1. So everything's the same except for the axe in the middle here. See that? This one's 1.05. The rest are all 1.1. So when I mentioned in the enchant guide that it rounds to the nearest 100,000, I was actually wrong. I think it rounds to the nearest 50,000 after a million. So when I'm going for net worth and I'm using only tier 9 enchants, all of my items that I'm selling are either 1.1 million exactly or 1.05 million. So from now on, when I talk about it, I'm going to talk about the surcharge value. So this mask, for example, is 2.2 million surcharged, and this guy is 2.1 million surcharged. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So we're going to go to market here. I shouldn't be showing you guys all this, but okay, so those are my 9 items. Those are the 9 types that I use. We're going to go normal with nothing on them, just standard tier 9. So here's all the items. There's a couple other ones here that I don't use, but all my main ones are here. So often I'll look at these prices. Let's say we look at these gloves. They're 380. So I'll calculate what's double that. And so that's how much I'm going to be getting. So that's 760K. So there's 48,000 profit that I'm making in those gloves. Where if I go here, it's the same and I'm making slightly less. And if I go here, 420 times 2 is 840,000, so I'm making 40,000. So I'm thinking, well, this is 40,000, the other one's 48,000, this one here is 46,000. So I'm like, okay, all these are basically exactly the same. It's not a big deal. This one's way less. but doubled that 710, which I mean, it's 45,000. So basically all these look exactly the same value. I'm making 40 to 50,000 per item that I'm buying. And that's my thought, because my math before was always, okay, what is double that item minus what it's going to cost me? That's my profit. But when you think about it, if I'm adding a chance and it's rounding, that's actually not true anymore, because all of these items are worth exactly the same except for this axe. All of these are going to be exactly 1.1 million or surcharge 2.2 million. And it doesn't matter whether this says 420,000 as base value or 380,000, or down here we've got 390,000. This one's 400,000. They're all different values, but in the end, they're actually all worth exactly the same because of rounding in this game. Is that crazy? And I never thought of that before. My math was always how much profit am I making? But now that I look at it, I know that that's incorrect, because they all end up being worth exactly the same. So when I look at this, I no longer look at this as 40,000 value. I look at that as this chest and this bow are actually both going to end up as 2.2 million in my pocket. So if I'm buying these chests, I'm spending, look at the difference, 77,000 more on this chest to buy it right now than this bow is. And even though the math says with no enchants, they're actually pretty much the exact same value. When you look at it with the math, with the enchants, and with rounding, this bow is a better value by 78k. Like, isn't that nuts? So when I go and when I look at this, this is 100k less. So rather than me looking at this as 665k I'm spending, essentially it's 765k, because it's exactly 100k less than the rest. Does that make sense? That might be confusing. So if I look at this, actually the best deal out of all of these items is these gloves, because it is the lowest price out of all of these compared to what I'm going to get out of it in the end. So for me, when I'm buying all of these items to enchant them right now, which I'm going to do, I'm not looking at the base value of 380 or 420 and doing the math on that, because I'm using tier 9 enchants. I'm actually just looking at the value itself of what I'm paying for that item and knowing that it's going to round up or down. Now, honestly, if I'm looking, like, let's go here to enchants right now. Yeah, that's fine. I want to look at tier 9 and 7. Now, because these prices are good, like this I'm getting 700k out of. So I'm only losing 5,000 each, which I've talked about in several videos before. Check those out if you haven't. So this is a good deal. So I'm buying up mostly only these right now. But if I'm using the tier 7 enchants instead, the rounding isn't the same, because it's going to be less than a million. It's not going to round. So my math when I'm looking at all of those items is different. Like for me to go 420 times 2 minus whatever I have to pay for it, figure out profit, that sort of thing. If I'm using tier 7s, it makes sense to do that. It totally makes sense to figure out the math on that. But when I'm only using these tier 9s and everything's going to be the same price of 1.1 or 1.05 million, then the math has to look different. Isn't that so crazy? And I never thought of that before. I hope all that makes sense. That was a lot of talking about math without you really being able to see what I mean, but I hope that makes sense. It's kind of crazy because this game, I mean, on the surface, it's simple. You craft things, you sell things, there's a market, blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, there's so many nuances and things that you can improve and things that you can do differently, and rounding that you don't even realize is happening until you apparently record an enchant guide, and then you're like, oh, shoot, I'm actually doing this wrong. Like, before, I would look at that chest and say, oh, it's still 40k value. I'd like, 50 of those or whatever, and I'd buy them. But think about it. If I'm buying 50 of those and I could be buying an item that's 75k less, like, I'm losing so much money. That's like 30 something million just on 50 items. Is that right? Maybe my math is super bad there. I think it is. Is it only 3 million? Still, yeah, that's only like 3 mil. Okay, so there's half my inventory. You guys are like, what is happening? This is so boring. Forgot to turn off my texts. So this is what I was talking about with the monotony. So I have very few, well, I have no items right now other than those 7 that are enchanted that I want to sell. And with this event, it's awesome because I can craft and sell like one-shot things at the same time, which is crazy. So there's a lot of this. So I'll basically get up to max. So I'll have 254 items that I can double enchant. And then I'll probably go through right now, buy like 500 items, then buy all these again. Like I'll go down to like a couple hundred mil right now. Oh, I'm buying these and they're way more expensive than they need to be. So I'll just spend like 1.5 billion right now or something. And then just like rip through it in a few hours. I don't know how long it'll actually take. And then just do it all again. When I went away for those few days, I dropped like 5 spaces in high scores. And I didn't like that. But it's so hard because sometimes with a family and all the things, all the responsibilities and stuff, I can't keep up with the top players. I only have a couple hours in the evening to sell or whatever, and I try to craft throughout the day if I can. So, I mean, sometimes it's just not possible with the time that I have to keep up, but I try. And every once in a while I get a couple extra hours to sell or make videos or whatever, which is sweet. So, it is what it is. I figure most people have clicked away at this point because I'm just like buying things over and over. But let's just do one round of this. We'll finish it off and then I'll let you guys go and I'll talk to you tomorrow. All right, we're almost done. Max. There we go. Okay. And now go back here. 7 things. 9 regular, off. Okay. Okay, so as we said, what's our best? These are our best value right now. It makes math so much easier when I do it this way as well. Because I don't actually have to like figure out, okay, what's double minus this? How much money am I making? It's literally just like, which one is the lowest overall price? Let's buy that. It's crazy. Okay. Good. I had like 20 of these just because I've been crafting them today. And I just didn't have any enchants left in my inventory to actually finish them. But good. What do we want? Figured out too, it's interesting. So I have these 7 items that I normally use, which take up all my racks. Like there's 1 of each for each type of thing, plus 2 of the boots. But I find it interesting because some items sell a lot faster than others. And I'll notice the difference. Like as I'm selling, I'll see what runs out first. So if I have 50 of each item and I'm selling them all like just as people buy them, some classes take certain items, obviously. So this bow actually sells the fastest out of everything. So I buy more of that bow. These branches sell pretty slow. And these helms actually sell the slowest. The mask sells slowest out of all of the items that I sell. Maybe it's just that the classes, like the least amount of classes use that item, so the chances of it being picked are lower. I don't really know. But that's kind of what it looks like. See, that's the thing. Before I would be buying like a ton of those chests. And I don't want to buy a lot of these too because that's like no profit, but we'll buy some of these as well. Yeah, because if I'm spending like an extra 70k or 50k more than I need to on those chests, like I don't actually want to buy them, but it's kind of nice to buy them because then at least like all of the different types of shelves and racks and mannequins are full of items. So I feel like at least people choose things quicker, but I just don't want to buy a ton of them because it just doesn't make any sense. Like it just seems like a bad decision. I don't know. All right, anyway, let's enchant these and we'll call it a day for you guys anyway. You guys get the boring part and then I just get to rip through selling all these. Sorry. Sweet. Okay. Let's start here. As I've showed you before, you just press the minus button and it just uses the maximum amount that you have available. Or number of items, whichever Yeah, I bought way more than 254 items, so I'm going to have to go back after this and buy way more enchants. Spend another couple hundred mil and then finish her off. Yeah, look at that. Crazy. Yeah, I bought way more. You guys can probably hear lots of background noise right now. Sorry about that. Hold on, let's see how many more. Holy, there's still like 150 or something. Maybe a little less, 120. Cool. That's it. And then I just put them all on racks. And once I buy more enchants, finish them all up. Oh, because I didn't enchant them. That makes sense. Cool. All right, guys. Thanks for watching as always. I appreciate it. Hope you learned something. I know I am. And I appreciate you guys watching and sharing and subscribing and all that stuff. So I'll see you guys tomorrow.